Chapter 1. A spark rekindled. The aftermath of the gala left Naomi reeling. Marco's boyfriend storming into her life felt like the cruelest betrayal, the ultimate confirmation of Gabriel's warnings. For days, Naomi withdrew to her villa, ignoring calls and drowning her emotions in work. Yet every time she closed her eyes, she saw Marco's face, not just the betrayal, but the vulnerability in his eyes when he tried to explain. Gabriel, ever the loyal friend, stayed by her side, offering his typical sharp wit and shoulder to lean on. But even he seemed off. There was something strained in his tone whenever Marco's name came up, a tension Naomi couldn't quite place. When Marco finally showed up at her door, he looked desperate but determined. "Naomi, let me explain," he pleaded, his voice raw. Against her better judgment, she let him in. "You lied to me, Marco," Naomi said, her voice icy but trembling. "You made me feel like I was finally seen, finally understood, and you—" "I didn't lie about my feelings for you," Marco interrupted. "Yes, I have a past, but it's complicated. It's not what you think." Naomi raised a brow. "Then tell me what it is. For once, be honest." Marco hesitated before speaking, his voice soft but urgent. "I ended things with him long before I met you, but he's been struggling. I've been supporting him, financially, emotionally. He's not just an ex, he's someone who saved me once. I owed him that." The sincerity in Marco's voice stirred something in Naomi, but before she could respond, Gabriel entered the room, his expression dark and unreadable. "You think this makes it better?" Gabriel snapped, his gaze locked on Marco. "You've been playing both sides, and Naomi deserves better than that." "Don't act like you're so pure, Gabriel," Marco shot back, his tone sharp. "Or should we talk about the real reason you hate me?" Chapter 2. The Hidden Thread. Naomi's eyes darted between the two men. "What is he talking about, Gabriel?" she demanded. Gabriel's composure faltered for the first time. "It's nothing. He's just trying to deflect." Marco stepped forward, his jaw tight. "Tell her the truth, Gabriel. Tell her about us." The room fell into a stunned silence. Naomi felt the air leave her lungs as she processed Marco's words. "Us," she repeated, her voice barely a whisper. Gabriel looked away, shame flickering across his face. "It was years ago," he admitted reluctantly. "We met in Rome. It was fleeting, a mistake. And then I found out he was working at Cielo Blu. I didn't want to tell you because I knew what he was like." "You knew him and you didn't say anything." Naomi's voice rose, anger and disbelief warring within her. "I was trying to protect you," Gabriel snapped. "Marco's a drifter. He's good at making people feel special, but he never stays." Marco's voice softened. "That's not who I am anymore, Gabriel. I fell for her, and you know it." Naomi's head spun. The man she'd trusted most and the man she couldn't stop thinking about had a shared history, a web of secrets she hadn't seen coming. Chapter 3. Temptation and Torn Loyalties. As the tension lingered, Naomi did what she always did, took control. "Both of you, outside now." Marco's face fell, but he nodded, stepping toward the door. Gabriel lingered, his expression one of quiet regret, before following. The following weeks were a blur. Naomi threw herself into her work, avoiding both men, but neither made it easy. Marco sent her texts filled with apologies and confessions. Gabriel, meanwhile, showed up unannounced with coffee and sharp observations about her newest business deals, subtly trying to win back her trust. But Naomi couldn't escape the growing question in her mind: who was telling the truth? One night, her answer came. She received a text from Marco. "I need to show you something. Cielo Blu, midnight." Against her better judgment, she went. When she arrived, the bar was closed, the lights dimmed, except for a single candle-lit table. Marco stood beside it, holding an envelope. "This is everything," he said, handing it to her. "Bank records, messages, proof that I wasn't playing you. I needed you to know the truth." Naomi's fingers trembled as she opened the envelope, scanning the documents. They told a story of a man caught between loyalty to an old love and the undeniable pull of a new one. But before she could speak, the door swung open. Gabriel stood there, his expression unreadable. "I knew you'd come," he said softly, his eyes on Naomi. Then, turning to Marco, he added, "And I knew you'd try to win her back with a grand gesture. Classic." "What are you doing here, Gabriel?" Naomi asked, her voice tight. He sighed. I couldn't let him manipulate you again. You're more than his escape plan, Naomi. Marco's anger flared. I've never needed an escape plan. I love her. Gabriel's voice was calm but cutting. You don't know what love is, Marco. You only know how to take. Chapter 4, A Dangerous Proposal. The standoff ended with Naomi storming out, leaving both men behind. But as she drove through the Milanese streets, a new plan formed in her mind. If she couldn't trust either of them completely, she'd force them to prove their worth. The next day, she called them both to her villa. Here's how this works, she said, her voice steely. I don't trust either of you right now, but I'm not walking away from this. Marco, you say you love me. Gabriel, you say you're protecting me. Prove it. Stay here, both of you, and let's see who you really are. The men exchanged shocked glances, but neither refused. As the tension simmered in her villa, secrets continued to surface. Unexpected alliances, whispered conversations, and an attraction between Marco and Gabriel that neither could fully deny. For Naomi, it was a dangerous game, but one she was determined to win. To be continued, stay tuned for Part 3, The Villa's Shadows, where passions ignite, alliances shift, and one final twist will change everything.